Hi there, Ramon and Sarah here from Memoryz, and we're here for another episode of our Caregiver interview series. Today we have two amazing caregivers of the polymentia movement all the way from New Zealand, and I'll throw it over to them to introduce themselves.
Hi guys, I'm Jess. I'm our Nana's full-time carer, and I am part of polymentia movement, and we are from South Auckland, New Zealand.
Hi everybody, my name is Ange or Angelina, and I am Jess's sister, and I help support with the polymentia movement.
Nice, nice. So how long have you guys been caregivers?
Well, about 4 years. My Nana was diagnosed with Alzheimer's back in 2018, but I started noticing all the odd behaviors back in 2017. So I guess about 4 years.
Nice, nice. Okay. So I guess like what was like the early stages of the diagnosis like for you, and emotionally and also like logistically, what did you guys do to kind of handle that time or work through that time?
I think when we found out her diagnosis, we were like,
I think it was just a bit of shock.
yeah,
And just
sad.
kinda,
I was really sad, like emotional. I couldn't believe it, because no one in our family has dementia, and our Nana's the first person to be diagnosed with it.
yeah, yep.
So I think just having our family, like,
Yeah, just talking about it, I guess, and just, because she didn't know at all what dementia was.
no,
So I
yeah,
think,
none of us believed
yeah, it was
away,
just
like,
a shock, really. But other than that, I think once we started learning more about dementia and the signs and symptoms, and then, then you understand it, and then able to move forward with it, I guess, and then know how to care for her.
yeah.
No, for sure, for sure. And I guess like if you're the first person in your family to be diagnosed with dementia, that must have been a huge shock. So I guess like my next question would be like, what advice would you give to caregivers who have a loved one who's been recently diagnosed with dementia and are kind of struggling emotionally? Like, what would you say to them to kind of help them get through this time?
I would say it's okay to talk about it and just reach out to anyone. Like if there's no one in your family, just look, like talk to a friend, and also just around. So we have, is it Dementia Auckland? They have some supports there as well. So I guess it's just talking to others and just being around positive people, I guess. Do you want to add anything? No.
No, that's really great advice. I think definitely leaning on your resources, reaching out to your loved ones and your support system, because it is a really emotionally challenging thing to go through. So thank you for highlighting that. I guess like my next question would be for you, like Jess. I know you mentioned that you're like the primary caregiver. So I guess have you kind of experienced caregiver burnout, or what has been kind of been your experience with burnout, and what would you say to people who are kind of struggling with burnout right now?
Yes, I have had caregiver burnout. Like, she knows.
Because she needs, like, when she needs to vent or just express herself, she can always turn to the others.
I struggled with it last year. So it was, I think 2020 was just like a real hard year for like my Nana and myself. And I think because of her decline, like, so she was like okay in 2019, and then big decline came February 2020. Then this whole new different
for COVID-19, I think when that hit last year, I think that impacted quite a bit on her condition as well.
Yeah. But I would say like it's bad. Like, my caregiver burnout was pretty bad, but for me, I had to turn to my my sister, my cousins, and I had to reach out to them and ask for help. And I think just going for walks and that really helped me.
And I think too, because when Nan actually was it when she had the fall? Was that last year?
Yeah, that was like November 2020. Yeah.
And so for us, we didn't want. I think Jess's main concern was her having, like with old people, well, as they get older, they have falls and things. And I guess you put a lot of stress on yourself, I guess, because Jess does the night shift, and we have our other auntie who does the day if you don't. If you're not too tired. But I guess it's just you want to try and do everything you can, I guess, but then that leaves you burnt out, and so it's just taking that time for self-care.
Lack of sleep hours.
I would say sleep is the main. Oh yes, it's the main thing that affects caregivers, I guess. Yeah.
For sure. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that experience is common amongst caregivers, the sleepless nights. But it's super important, as you mentioned, to lean on your network and actually prioritize yourself, because you can only be the best carer for your loved one when you're, the best version of yourself, for sure. So thanks so much for sharing that story. I'm going to throw it over to Sarah now and see if she has any questions for you guys, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So sort of relating to that point, in your time being a caregiver, what are, I guess, like some of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far?
One of the things I've noticed with Jess is having patience. I guess that's a big thing.
You need a lot of patience on this journey, and lots of love.
I think when just relating back to what we've got on our badges, it's got faith, love, and hope. And I guess with Jess going through this with our Nan, it's taught you to be quite just to be strong, really, because it's not easy. And I guess every day is always going to be up and down. It's going to be different. So I guess the lessons will be just being resilient, bouncing back. Like if you had a hard day, think about the next day as being, just resetting yourself, and anything else you want to? Sorry, jumping in there.
That's all good. You got this. You got this.
Yeah, that's a really great, I guess, like piece of advice for caregivers. And I also wanted to know, like, what are some, I guess, misconceptions that people have about caregiving, or even like dementia in general?
I think a lot of people just think, dementia is just old age memory loss, but they don't know the extent of it.
Yeah, there's more to it than just memory loss.
Way more.
Like when they lose their, activities of daily living. Like, you can't. I think what I've noticed in our Nan, like she can't wash herself. Sometimes she can't feed herself or go to the toilet. And those are some of the important things, like for us, we can do all that stuff. But because we've got other elderly relatives that actually can do that for themselves, and they're the same age as her. So looking at with her having dementia, it's quite debilitating, I guess. You want to describe it in that way. So
and I also wanted to know, with the pandemic going on, how has current events sort of affected like your caregiving burden overall?
Well, over here in New Zealand,
we're actually quite lucky over here.
We're very blessed.
I don't know if you've seen in the media concerts happening. But I think you want to talk about how last year impacted, because it's actually been not too bad this year, but we've been dipping in and out of. Just depends on the situation, I guess, with the lockdowns. But lately, it's actually been contained. So so
I think it's been okay for me, because I have my auntie who does help at home. Like she's there, and
I think we're able to go out and like
Yeah.
you
Car
take her for
rides.
car rides, and I
Yeah.
guess last year when it was the actual lockdown, it was hard for her because she wanted to leave the
Yeah,
house.
because Nana loves car
And
rides.
obviously during those lockdown periods,
not
you
allowed,
can't
yeah.
leave the home unless you're going to, the supermarkets.
Yeah.
And because she's vulnerable.
So I had to reach
safer.
out. I had to reach out to Dementia Auckland. They yeah, I had to reach out to them, and I told them about Nana's situation, and then they actually like emailed back, and they sent us a card that allows us to drive on the roads. So if we were to get, stopped by police or, anyone else, like we have that card to show them that, we are allowed to be on the road. And I didn't want to stop, like taking my Nana for a car ride. I still wanted to, take her. So I had to do anything I could and like to, get something for it. So I'm glad that we did get that card.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also
Even though
that,
we didn't even use it though.
Yeah.
But it
it
was good
makes
to have
you
that.
appreciate, I guess, just doing things with our loved ones.
Yeah.
Especially with Dan. Because life is too short, and so we just got to make the most of it and make her happy and cherish those moments. So yeah.
So for us, our main goal for our Nana is to keep her happy and comfortable.
Yeah, it's good to hear that the pandemic has been getting better over there. For us, it's definitely quite the opposite. But yeah, that's really great to hear. So in terms of, I guess, like pandemic or not, like what does the term caregiver support mean to you guys?
Family.
Just supporting each other.
Support.
Being there, just when someone needs to talk to somebody. I think the main, like for Jess, because she's the main carer, we have to wrap around, her and support her.
Mm.
But also with this movement, just making dementia, just because there's a stigma around it on this side.
There is a big stigma.
We're just trying to, normalize it or just make it so that people can talk about it, I guess, because I think in our Polynesian communities, I think they think, what's the word? That it's normal, like for an old person to have, what they go through, but that's because there's not enough education around it. So if caregivers and other people and their families educate themselves around dementia, then they'll know how to better look after their loved one, I guess, or cope with it, because it is a hard thing.
Yeah, and that sort of relates to my next question. How do you sort of like stay on top of your own tasks, but also like caregiver tasks, and how do you like stay organized in that sense?
Well, I'm a really organized person.
She's really, how can you put it? OCD? Nah. Quite organized is all I say. So she's really onto it.
I need to, like that's just me, like because I'm a Virgo as well, so I need to stay on top of things. And I think if I have a journal, I can put everything down and just follow through with it. But
that's how I noticed with this one. She always message through and go, oh, and I'm like, we're like 5 days early. But yeah, I guess it's preparation. You got to be prepared, and with Jess, it's a good thing, I guess, to keep on top of things. And also write it out too. So you don't forget yourself.
I need to like write things out. Even like my Nana has a routine. Things have to be like put in place for her. If family don't know, like if they come over and they don't know, like what to do.
Got a book.
There's a book
that we write. Just document everything. Like how her day.
Everything has to be documented. Medication, feeds.
Like your nurse at the hospital. Yeah.
But it's good to have that. It's good to have that, like, because it keeps my family, in the loop of what's happening.
Yeah, like everyone on the same page. Otherwise, someone might come over and be like, "Oh, I'll feed her another quarter sip," another. So Yeah, so you're not doubling up.
Yeah,
on
because
things and-
being the carer, like everything has to be done right for my nana. Yeah,
I guess
so-
just wanting her to have the best
Mm.
care, and it has to be quality as well. I guess that's the main thing. Eh?
Yeah.
Also, just because you want to treat somebody how you'd want to be treated. So I guess in our family, we respect our
Yeah.
elderly. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the organization is really key, and I think that's really helpful to hear. And now I can pass it back to Ramon to either ask more questions or
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. I think something that I kind of wanted to highlight was, or like ask you guys about was, how do you think your caregiving experience has like impacted your family dynamic? Like, how has it impacted your relationship with sisters or your relationship with other caregivers around you? Because it's a challenging thing to go through together.
I would say, Jess, have you got something to say?
Bro, I couldn't really hear you. The plane.
No, he was just
there was a
saying-
plane.
Sorry, there was a plane that went over. But I would say, from my perspective, and then I'll pass it over to Jess, I think having this movement, a lot more support has come through, especially from our family and our friends.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Community.
which helps because it
Yeah.
uplifts us, especially
Especially me, like
because sometimes you feel just drained from doing your everyday.
I think a lot of like
whatnot.
carers, like they know that feeling. Like you're tired, you're exhausted, and but having this movement, like to be honest, it's a blessing for myself as well as for other families as well, like our other
family and
Polynesian-
friends, that just we've just had a lot more family and friends just pull through and support. Yeah, by just sending messages. I think you were saying that a lot of people send through uplifting messages that would
I
help
love
this
our caregiver community on like social media, like especially Instagram. Yeah, we have a lot of messages that come through on Instagram, like they're very positive and uplifting, and that's what our movement is about as well. Is about spreading love.
Yeah. And there's some that actually have questions for us, so we might not have the answers to it, but we'll
We know the right
we'll just
resources, like
the right resources and just direct them to the right places. So,
Yeah.
because obviously we're not professionals around it. We're just ordinary people, just caregiving and
trying to do something good for our community.
yeah.
No, for sure. Thanks so much for highlighting that. And I definitely see you guys rocking the polymentia apparel. So I definitely want to ask you guys about that.
Oh yes.
If you guys have a chance to kind of tell us a bit more about like what prompted you to start sharing your caregiving journey on social media, and like how did the whole polymentia movement like come about?
Well, we started Polymentia back in 2020, and so our nana's the whole reason behind this movement. And I think
Not enough
Just
support
not
around
enough,
there,
yeah.
or nothing around Polynesians. Because in New Zealand, it's there is support out there, but there's no Pacifica.
yeah.
Do you want to elaborate on?
So like in our Polynesian community, a lot of our families don't talk about dementia, and for I think our movement is about changing that a bit. Like we want our Polynesian people to know that it's okay to talk about dementia, and they are not alone. Like we are all in this together, fighting this, together. And I think this movement's really helped us and our Polynesian community.
A lot more people have come forward with their stories, and so our platform is about just sharing their stories, being their voice. Because it's been just hard for them. I think there's a few people that struggle to cope with it alone, and I guess with us, like I was saying before, just supporting each other. And it goes back to having love, faith, and hope. And I guess for us being believers of God, I think that's helped lead us to where we are now, and
definitely.
continue to carry on our work. In Māori, they call it mahi. Because, this in New Zealand, we not only have Polynesian, we have Māori families as well. And this is, just the,
No, for sure, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's really inspiring that you guys were able to take like a really challenging thing that you have to go through in life and turn it into a movement to really uplift people and create an environment where it's like safe to talk about these things. Definitely think one of the hardest parts of being a caregiver is thinking that you're doing it alone. So seeing kind of pages like that are kind of making it a comfortable space to talk about it and providing support, hugely beneficial to the community. So huge props to you guys for starting that. I don't think we have any more questions for you guys for today, but if you know other people who are watching this who want to learn more about you, whether that be in the Polynesian community or elsewhere, like where can they find you? Like what social media are you guys on? Like feel free to plug everything so people will go see all the amazing work you guys are putting out.
Okay, so I know our name is Dementia Movement, but we are open to, other cultures as well. And, we just want everyone to know that, you're not alone, and you can find us on Facebook, Dementia Movement, on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. We just want to,
We're on TikTok, but
we're slowly working
on TikTok.
And we just want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to come in your guys.
For sure. And thank you guys so much for chatting with us today. So that's Dementia Movement on Instagram and Facebook, TikTok pending.
Could I just say one more thing? I just want to say thank you to our supporters, our followers. Just thank you for the love and support, because our movement is about, spreading love, and we
and supporting other caregivers out there.
And we really appreciate, other carers, caregivers, care partners out there, who message us as well, because, we help each other, and it's about
awesome. Collaborating with each other, I guess, and just,
And for us, like for our movement, we've got a lot to do. Like we've got so much to do, and we can't wait. I guess.
What's to come?
So, watch the space.
Sure, for sure. Well, I guess you heard it here first. Please be sure to check out Dementia Movement and the amazing work they're putting out. And thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Caregiver Interviews and Caregiver Series. And we'll see you next week.